Welcome to the Chill Mom Boss Show, and this week we have a very special guest, Sharon Wong, founder and CEO, creative director, and most importantly, the passion behind Mother's Work needs no introduction. And I wanted Sharon to come on the show after I read her book, this book, War Mom, where she wrote about her life as a little girl in Ipoh and her journey to where she is and where Mother Works is today. And I find it very fascinating. I learned a lot from the book, and I want to give you a bit of a teaser about what's in the book and what I feel like she has a lot to share with our community, and that's why she's on the show today. And without further ado, let me welcome Sharon Wong. Hi, Sharon.
Hi,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks for having
Thank
me,
you so
Michelle.
much for your time, to be on the show. So will you start by telling our audience the one thing that people least expect you to be?
You know, when you first meet me, most people will say, wow, she's got a bitch face. But I am the friendliest person ever. And I used to cry when I was little because everybody said, oh no, look at her, she's so fierce. Apparently when I don't smile, I look really fierce.
You're not alone. You're not alone. I got that too. And
Do you all get
there you
this?
go. Yeah, I think that's an excellent sort of like an insight and introduction to get to know who you are. Perhaps, other people who may not know you or me might think that we are intimidating, but I know you, and I know, you are the warmest person, and you're always so kind to everyone around you. And so now we want to get back to the story, right? I know what have driven you to start your business, but will you give our audience who hasn't read the book a bit of a teaser, if you would, on why you started your business?
Well, the business part is easy, right? So Mother's Work started as a hobby. It started when I was first pregnant. It's one of those moments where, something grips you and it makes you want to do something because you want it so badly. And that moment for me was when I found out I was pregnant and started shopping for baby products. There's not a lot out there. My oldest is now 26, so there's not a lot out there 26 years ago. And I was traveling for work, and I found all these things that I want, and I said to myself, surely there are other mothers like me in Singapore and in Hong Kong. At the time I was, living between Hong Kong and traveling to Singapore as well. So by the time I was pregnant with my third child, I have this little list, a black book of everything you need to raise your child, not just anybody's, but yours, because we're all different. So with number 1, number 2, and number 3, I have, I always say 3 is perfect. By the time I get to number 3, I realized that every single child wanted different things, different stroller, the best car seat, the safest bottle, you name it, I wanted it. So I was this momzilla, and it became a hobby that I wanted to share with a whole community of mothers who are too busy to look for products, but that we would be showcasing what options there are available. And with a hobby, just with a business, it has a life of its own. And before you know it, it became a business. It became a well-known business in Singapore, and 10 years ago we went into China as well. So Mother's Work was basically created me being a mom and wanting the best for my child.
Excellent. And do you think that it has changed or evolved to what it is today?
Oh, absolutely. Someone said to me, we just celebrated our 24th anniversary last month, and someone said, Sharon, you've been doing this for 24 years. I'm like, no, it feels fresh every 2 years. But with the retail business and really just motherhood, from the time that I was pregnant, until you, and now the newer moms, the things that we offer are completely different. Even my youngest son, he said he's just finished NS. He came home, he's like, Mom, I never got these strollers. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't available during your time. So every 3 to 5 years, the life of an entrepreneur or in whatever industry that you're in, it changes. Even in corporate, you rise to the challenge, you take on different portfolio, and it changes just depending. And so it's a lot of interaction. So Mother's Work today is more than just a retail store. Aside from me sharing my little black book of what you need to buy and when you need to buy, Mother's Work today is actually a community of women. Community of women as they journey into motherhood, as we share and we bond together and realizing that we are not alone.
Oh,
With this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the beauty of evolving, right? Forever.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that, and I absolutely feel like that's why Mother's Work is so popular, and being a mother myself, and I still remember being a first time mom, and like walking into a baby store could be intimidating. It's like, what are all these products, right? What is there? And certainly Mother's Work has has provided that community that we don't feel like we're alone. So that's amazing how, you started off feeling like you were alone in looking out for maternity wear that would look good in, and then you bring it to people, and then now you created a community for people so that they won't feel alone when they first started in this motherhood. And I want to go back to your mission, right? Your mission of sharing your little black book of products that would help mothers in their early motherhood. And I wonder is there like a checklist, right, for the products that you would bring on, that you would include in that little black book and eventually onto the shelves of Mother's Work? Is there like a criteria?
There is a criteria, but actually, first of all, there's a checklist, a standard checklist of what you need. The success to me today is when a first-time mom walks out of Mother's Work a little less overwhelmed. Right? You walk in, you mentioned being overwhelmed. You walk in, and I sometimes see these first-time moms. They look around and they're like, oh my goodness, do I need all this for my little person coming, right? And I would say, yes, you absolutely do, but not all at the same time. So let's not kid. We need a lot of stuff for the little baby, right? And we have it all. So the point of us trying to, like my mission from the very beginning was to journey with women as they enter motherhood, right? To partner women as they journey into motherhood, to be there for them, to make it a little less overwhelmed so that they know the choices. Right? It's all about options. I hate it when people say, look, you have to buy this. I'm like, no, you don't. There are choices. And why are we kidding ourselves? We can make very good decisions. We women are decision makers. We can do it as long as you provide all the information for me to make an informed decision on what I want to buy to raise my baby, not yours, not anybody's, but mine. So then we start off with a checklist of everything you need. And we narrow, so we have checklists from nursery, on the go, at home, dress up, you name it, you need it, but we narrow it down to the basic, and we try to cut the checklist into 3 parts. Everything you need to buy before the baby arrives. Then I have a newborn checklist, everything you need from 0 to 12 months. And then we have another checklist, which is very minimal, it's a toddler checklist. So mainly gifts for your first birthday, and then it goes on. So that way, it narrows it down for you, and you don't have to be overwhelmed. And then in the newborn checklist, in the baby checklist, I narrow it down to the top 9 must-have. If you buy nothing else, Michelle, you only need to buy these 9 things for your baby. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? We need lots of stuff. I'm like, no, you need 9 things. Decide on these top 9. And the rest will come together because you get gifts, you get hand-me-downs, there's a lot out there. So let's not just buy and buy more. And I'm a retailer. I'm telling you not to buy.
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful, right? Like really, just the 9 must have, the rest, it will come, or they're just nice to have, really.
Yes.
And this is for like the consumer. You're thinking for the consumer, right? Like, again, you were saying, oh, I'm the retailer, I'm telling you not to buy. But in like a business standpoint, is there like a price point that you look at, and like profit margin? How do you decide what goes into your business?
Okay, so like I said, Mother's Word was created me as an extension of a mother of three. Mother's Word is my fourth baby. So everything that I've used for my three babies, tried and tested, and based on what is the latest technology, we pull it together. And so over the years, I've come up with a list, not a list, maybe, 11 values, I call it. Mother's Word is 11 alphabets, and they stand for 11 values. Now, if any product within our category of babies, right, we have baby on the go, so you need everything you need to take your baby out of the home. So the three main category there is your car seat, your stroller, and your baby carrier. So we go on like baby at home, what do you need at home? So in fact, when we train our team, it's very simple. Like think of everything you're selling as what you would need, but bring yourself down to when you were like 10 years old. And then as you go down further, younger, what do you need at home? What do you need when you go out, right? And what do you need to dress up? What do you need for bathing and so on and so on. So with the Mother's Word, once we created the category to work with moms, and this is what you need, based on my tried and tested things that I needed, we came up with 11 values, and it was interesting. Then we played around with it, and I looked at Mother's Word, and I'm like, I've got 11 alphabets, I need 11 values, and if any of the product that we want will meet 4 out of these 11 values, they pass the first test of being inside. It's for us to curate inside the categories that we have in our offerings at Mother's Word. So M would be for multi-stage. So if you show me a product that is a single use, unless it is so unique, I'll be like, why am I wasting money? I need multi-use, right? O is original. So no pirate stuff, no copycats, because we believe in serving moms and giving you the best options. T is time tested, and then K which is my favorite, K at the end is kind to the earth. Right? So there are 11 values, Michelle. If you can't meet 4 of the 11, how on earth can I look at you and say, Michelle, I think you should absolutely buy this? I can't. So I think that, I'm an entrepreneur with a heart, with a conscience. Maybe
all need that,
It's more than just a business to me, and it's more than just the last dollar. That's why, over the years, we're trusted. We're a community, and moms share. You yourself have been a couple of our events, and you know how we share and how you share. Young moms come up to you and like, oh, Michelle, you have 3 children. And so there's a lot of things like that happening, and I'm happy that it's evolved this way. I didn't know it would evolve to this, right, when I first started.
Yeah. One thing leads to another, and you're like, wow, 24 years later. Like, I mean, as a business owner, we first have to be proud of the business that we have, because like you say, it is our baby after our babies. And so I love that. Just like family values for your business, you have your business values. What can be in the business, because that's literally what you push to your customers. And so I think that's great. And I think you are at a stage now, I mean, product manufacturers probably come to you and say, Sharon, we have this, we'd love to stock this here. But in the early days, right? In the early days, you probably have tried something and you want to like bring it into Singapore. I'm sure there was challenges to bring it into Singapore. What was that like?
Absolutely. I mean, until today, there's one of our very first supplier. When I bump into him, he'll laugh. He's like, remember when I asked you to pay me cash? Like, no credit for you, because who are you? Why do you want my product as cash and delivery? And we've come a long way. I tell you my research. I was pregnant at the time with number 3 when I started researching. I was at Babies R Us. Do you remember Babies R Us?
Yes.
R Us, it was a branch with all the baby products. I think it's at Forum. I spent a whole afternoon there with a little notebook trying to take note of what are the products they have, what bathtub. And I remember the salespeople were looking at me like, what is this pregnant woman doing here, for so long, and she's probably copying our prices. But I was just doing my research. And then I went to the yellow pages, went to the I don't know if you
Back in
guys
those
remember
days for
Yellow
you millennials, we had yellow pages back then, yes?
Yellow pages and white pages, right? Two
Mm.
thick, very thick, thin paper. And I went in there to look for suppliers in Singapore. So I know the brands. I've done the research on the brands, and I went to I needed to look for suppliers in Singapore. When I couldn't find them, I would then get on and stay up very late to US time, so that I can then call the US to see if I can speak to somebody. And that's how I was sourcing for brands. I mean, it was tough. It
Yeah.
took a long time. And that's why, you know, I always say to the young ones, I said, today is a press of a button. You go to my website and you know all the brands I carry. And we've done the research. But when we first started, it was tough. I had to do a lot of work to find the source, even though I know the brand.
Yeah.
Today, though, but the most satisfying, Michelle, is when any new brand wanting to come into Singapore or China, they'll call and they'll call and they'll call. And then it's just so satisfying.
It's the reverse now, isn't it?
But you know, it's been a long time. We work out, to be very honest, we work really hard to get to where we are, to get the reputation, right? I mean, just like your business. Not everybody can do it. You know, you hustle, right?
Yeah, we
you
make
get
things
to where we
happen.
are. And then when we get to where we are, sometimes we are too harsh on ourselves. You keep going, we keep going, we keep going, right? But if you take a step back and you go, oh wow, we got here. Let's take a breather, celebrate before we hustle more.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, like after hearing, you know, what Sharon had to go through, I mean, for those who want to get into retail business, now for you to find a retailer, or sorry, a supplier, probably just, yeah, really just Google, you got the number, you got the email, you just email them. Like back in those days, you got to stay up and you got to make those long distance call, and it was expensive.
Yes.
Right? And you don't, obviously, I mean, for anyone starting up, you know, people don't know you yet, you need to prove your ability to sell the product, right? So how did you convince them? Just really cash up front?
Well, so the local ones are cash up front. So once you do the first one, they trust you, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
then but also because the store wasn't open, so they have nothing to see. So by the time we enter China, and once they've seen what we can do, it's very different. So perception is very important, right? Today, when I introduce, and also don't forget, Singapore was the Far East in those days. So when I call the US, I'm like, hi, you know, I'm Sharon from Mother's Work. We're a very premium mother and baby retailer in Singapore. And they're like, where? And they're like, oh, the Far East. So, you know, the perception is very different. But today when we say, oh, we're from Singapore, they're like, oh, I know, there's a famous baby store there. I'm like, that's me. That's me. That's Mother's Work. But, you know, it's come a long way. And we have to hustle. In our generation, we hustle. And I guess the new generation is easy. We get emails every day. We get a lot of emails. My buyers get a lot of emails from suppliers who want to list, who wants to come into Singapore. And also from local brands. And one of the things we decided to also do was to support local, because it was so difficult for us to hustle, to bring things into Singapore. And of course, when we enter China, we also have to hustle. So part of what I wanted to do for the women community as well is that, you know, we've done the learning, we've done that learning curve. So if I can help you kick off faster, you know, I'm happy to do that. So that's why we're happy to share some of the learnings that we have, all the standard operating procedures. But you know, in those days it was fun though. Thinking back now, that actually I haven't thought about this for a long time. So thank you for kind of, you know, taking me back to those days, Michelle. It was fun. It was hard work, but it was fun. I mean, how much fun is it to press a button today?
You're a natural entrepreneur. Like you want the hard thing. It's like, give me a challenge. Like this is way too easy, right? That's funny. Well, and then that's great. That's like a good leadway into our next question, which comes from one of my follower on Instagram, and this is from Adele, and she says, and she asked, the biggest challenge that you had when you started your business, was it picking up the call right at the start, or is there, you know, anywhere in between? What was the biggest challenge that you had to go through?
You know, that's a really tough question because just like motherhood,
Mm.
don't remember the one thing. Right? There are many, many things and many challenges along the way. I always say that it's a road bump, right? I always use a road map with a bump in the road, and you find your way, you find that hole in the wall, you go through, and it's a next challenge. So even with raising 3 children, I get asked this all the time. I cannot pinpoint because to me, each one, you solve your problems as you move along, and they're new problems. So does that mean that was the first problem and was the toughest, and therefore you solve it and then the following up? Because it's never a quick, yeah, I fixed it, right? There's always a lot of things. So the same with motherhood. When we ask moms, how was your pregnancy? You know, do you remember all the hardship? You're like, yeah, I've told this a lot, but you can't really pinpoint. So there are a lot of challenges. I mean, I'm not going to kid you. It wasn't easy. I mean, just looking for suppliers in those days, but still there are bigger challenges along the way. Finding customer, making sales, and, you know, satisfying everybody. And I think when you're enjoying what you do, when it is the passion that's calling you, you tend to forget those difficult moments. You solve it and you move. You keep moving and you move forward, and before you know it, I don't remember what happened 10 years ago. I went to China. I know it was the toughest time. I remember my head got bruised because there was a lot of challenges, but what are they? I don't remember.
Right.
My head got bruised because we have this joke that, you know, there's a thick wall in China. Everywhere we go, there's a thick wall. They keep knocking your head against the wall, and eventually you find a hole in the wall and you go through.
I love that. I love that. It's true, right? And each of the challenge and each of the obstacles, right, that we go through, we become better.
Yes.
If without those obstacles and without those challenges, we will never grow, right? And I always tell people that you can only be as good as the biggest problem that you solved.
Yes, absolutely. That is so perfectly put. Yeah.
Exactly, because a lot of people, oh, I want this, right? I want the $1 million business, but the $1 million business comes with $1 million problem. Are you ready for that? Right? So I love your answer of like not just one biggest challenge. It's consistent. Just as life, we have challenges. And I remember a part of your story in your book where you mentioned where you went into this mall. It was totally quiet. And you're like, are we in the wrong location? But then your store becomes like the anchor tenant for the mall eventually. And that's, again, you can see it as a challenge, and you could also see that perseverance and really absolute trust of how mothers would work in that market. So kudos. Thank you.
No, but see, actually, one of my secret recipe, which I didn't talk about in the book because I had forgotten, and was reminded. So I have this. It's called PPPV.
PPPV.
Passion, product, vision, and a little bit of luck. Now, I'm not talking about 4D luck, okay? Luck is where opportunity and ability to execute or able to move with it across, right? So some people see it as a risk when you look at a mall, but some of us see it as an opportunity. Now, it is an opportunity where, because luck is sitting right there, Lady Luck is calling to you. Now, it exists, right? But are you able to step up and take it? We could have walked away from the mall.
Yeah.
Because it's a dead mall. We could have walked away. I'm like, this is so scary, right? But when that opportunity presents itself, when the luck was sitting there, I always step up because I know whether I fail or not. If I don't take this, I'm going to regret this. Even if I fail, at least I know I did it. And so that is why every time I look back, right? I look back and I'm like, every major obstacle that people would see or risk, if I see it as an opportunity, it has gotten us to where we are.
Amazing.
Yeah, is the ability where the opportunity or the luck presents itself and us stepping up and taking that to move on, the ability to do it at that point in time. Now, some people can't. Like if I was just pregnant, I'll probably say this is not the right time. but then I would never know whether it will present itself again. And there'll be others like, what is this pregnancy? The baby's going to come out, and then what? I'm just going to take this opportunity together with my baby. We're going to hustle through.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important for us women to remember that we go through a lot with our pregnancy, with our bodies, with our career, because we've got family, we've got husband. We always think that, okay, I could do it later. This is not my time yet. True, you could say that, but you will never know if by saying that you have missed a very, very big milestone in your life. So I always say when something presents itself, do not just wave it away and say, I want to prioritize this, I want to prioritize that because it's not my time. It is always your time. Make time and then think about it. Do not just brush it off, because I always believe that is where Lady Luck presents itself. It's an opportunity. Do not write off as risk.
I'm getting chills listening to this, and it's absolutely true. Just like what you said, people see it as risk, and you see it as luck opportunity presenting itself, and sometimes our external circumstances or how things turn out to be starts from our mind, and because you see it as an opportunity, it turns out well. Right? So people say, oh, you're just lucky. But no, you did that inner work. You were scared as well. But you pushed through it, and you're like, I choose to see it as opportunity, and I choose to go through with it because I do not want to regret it. And that's one very important, I think, takeaway that I'll remember, and I hope our audience will remember as well, because as we go through life, there's always opportunity that comes to us that we miss because we see.
And opportunity is a big word, right? So that's why I use the word luck. I chose to take the luck. I chose to believe that I am lucky today, and Lady Luck presented itself, and I chose to take that luck with me. And as Asians, right, I think it's easier for us to understand, oh yeah, I'm so lucky. Yeah, I'm so lucky. But actually, when we say opportunity, oh my gosh, it's such a big word. What opportunity? What have I missed? But very simple. It's that moment that and honestly, Michelle, I think that's what you did too, right? There's an opportunity. Lady Luck was there. Not a lot of people are helping other moms start their business or even kickstart. We're all wanting to help, but we're all busy with other things, and none of us are thinking the way you are thinking. And you ran with it, and there's all these moms that you're helping to start their business, to grow. But people don't see that. You're so lucky, Michelle, because it was perfect timing, because nobody was doing it. But they don't know how hard it is, right?
Yeah. I guess to me, it's like I thought of this, and let's just do it. If I don't do it, I might regret it. Like if I don't do this, then I might be doing something else. Let's just run with this and let's see where it takes us. And just really, that's it. It's like the logic behind it. It could actually be very simple. It's like, do I want to do it? Yeah, I really feel pulled to it. I want to do it, and I'm doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you don't have to think too much. I always say, just keep moving. And if it's not right, you can always change. What is so scary? So, like I said, okay, when we went to China, I'm like, okay, so if I lose everything, okay, get out. I'll come back to Singapore and go somewhere else. But if I never went into China, I would never know.
Exactly. If you don't go, you'll never know. And that's one precious life of ours. Are you going to take the risk, right? Or are you just going to be, I'll never know, I don't know, I'm just going to sit on my couch and think, what if, right? Okay, so one last question, right? What's your number one goal for the next 12 months?
I always get asked, what is your business plan? What is your target for the next 2 years? Michelle, I don't even know what I'm eating tomorrow.
Okay. Well, this could be not just business, anything. Just number one goal you want to do.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I think because my children are grown up and they live in different countries, I think my goal has always been to become or to get together and spend time as a family of 5. So to me, that has always been precious. And recently I did organize for my 2 children to come back in time on the morning of their father's birthday. So to me, these are these are precious time, and they become little goals of mine whenever the opportunity presents itself that we could come together. That's what I would really plan for. I mean, the rest of the things you hustle and you work with it. But I think if you said, what is my one goal that I really want to make happen all the time that I'm thinking about when the opportunity presents itself, is to bring my family together.
Lovely. Yes,
Precious
thank you so
time.
much. Yes, create memories with your family. That should be our
Yes.
number one goal. And if I may just summarize, our entire conversation, I love that we shared how this business stemmed from your experience as a mom, and you want to create that experience and create that community for other moms. And with that, because at the end of the day, you are solving quite problem for other people. You are helping other people, and I like to think that with that, and also with your business savviness and your never die attitude, that it has brought yourself and Mother's Work to what it is today. And we've learned so much. Personally, I've learned so much. I've got so much oh my God moments, and I would definitely listen back to this as well to see what else have I missed while I was talking to you. And while wrap this up, would you have any last parting words for our audience?
I think I'm always a mother first, an entrepreneur second. And one of the values, we talk about values for the business, these are standard operating procedures that you develop as you learn in business. But what I always say is, tell your children, have your family values. Our is very simple. We tell the children, be kind, have passion, have courage to find and become the best you can be. We're not asking for more, but give us no less.
Excellent. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Chill Mom Boss Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I have. And I'll see you again, same place, whatever time is convenient to you to tune in. Bye-bye.